Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Your Miami Dolphins win 16-13 in Spain today. Wow. I mean, whew, that was crazy. Look, always just take the win. It's been a miserable season. Yeah, it's not the most thrilling one in the world. Yes, you probably didn't deserve to win it, but neither did they. I mean, like, that's the other thing of it. It's like people will sit here and the most pessimistic Dolphin fan, I gotta say, like, I'm looking at these two idiots and I'm just like, which one of you guys actually wants to win this game between Dan Quinn and Mike McDaniel just passing up points? These two vaunted offenses. We had 13 points. For some reason, they were both treating the game like they were going up and down the field, left and right. And they just were like, 3 points? Not for me. I don't want it. Dan Quinn didn't want it. Mike McDaniel didn't want it. And somehow we end up in overtime. And Achane does what Achane does, puts the Dolphins in pristine position to get themselves finally a game-winning touchdown. Riley Patterson gets the dub, and the Miami Dolphins get their 4th win of the season. But the journey to get here was crazy. Shout out to Jack Jones. Jack Jones, huge interception on Marcus Mariota to get the Dolphins the football right back. The Dolphins elect to kick off, and Laramie Tunsil there at center field. That was a little, miss you, Laramie. But Jack Jones with a huge interception to set the Dolphins up. But this was not without its drama. I mean, it really was. It was theater of ineptitude of the highest order or lowest order, however you want to put it, in the fourth quarter. I mean, just absolutely incredible what we saw between these football teams, right? After the Commanders tied this puppy up, and after the Dolphins tied this puppy up, by the way, Ollie Gordon, who had a really nice game, tied things at 13 apiece. You had a couple big conversions by Tua to Malik Washington. Achane then doing what he does to set it up, but Ollie Gordon punched it in the end zone. He himself had a really nice day for the Dolphins. But the Commanders get the ball back, okay? Marcus Mariota, even if he's old as hell, I mean, he's probably like 31 because it just feels like Marcus Mariota's been in our ether. What is Marcus Mariota? 32 years old? That's crazy. Marcus Mariota is the same age as Norman Powell. All right, whatever. Marcus Mariota busts loose for a 43-yard run, and you're just like, no. You're like, oh, again, you're coming away with points. You get a run like that, you're coming away with at least points, right? Like, you're coming away with points. That's the way it's supposed to go in football. You get to play like that. So they get it all the way down to goal situation. All right. They get another run for 8. They go to Debo. They keep it moving. Juju Brents gets hurt in the middle of it. They set themselves up, and they're down to the 2-yard line. And Rodriguez gets stuffed. Big stop by Brooks and Dodson, and a nice move by Jordan Phillips. Dolphins get a huge stop. You're just like, all right, you're keeping it. I'm immediately thinking, Dolphins are keeping this puppy to 3, right? It was like 6+ minutes left in the game. No, they're not only are they not keeping it to 3, they're keeping it to 0 because Dan Quinn decides to go for it. And this just starts a bevy of crazy plays because he decides to go for it, give up the points, which I understand this has become a very chic thing in the NFL. They got the dynamic kickoffs, and getting into field goal range these days is not like, it's not that hard. But the Dolphins have Riley Patterson, who doesn't have the biggest boot on him in the world. And the Commanders kicker already missed one on the day. He didn't miss a big one. But I didn't understand this. I was like, okay, he's going to go for it. Sure, dude. Whatever you say. So they go for it. Zach Ertz slips. It's incomplete. Dolphins hold him, turnover on downs. The Dolphins get the ball back, and they get a huge run by Ollie Gordon. He just immediately 20-yard run. You're like, okay, Dolphins should be in business. Then Tua puts it on the money to Jalen Waddle, who didn't have a great game today. I mean, he had a couple of drops late. You're just like, come on. Like, those are the things with him. You're just like, you're the dude now, dude. You got to catch those balls. Whatever. Tua ends up getting sacked. Huge loss for the Dolphins. I think it was 4th and 19. So the Commanders, while they took a risk, they're about to do this with no risk. They're about to get the ball back. The Dolphins punt it, and they got some backup schlub who is returning the first punt of his career. And he muffs this punt harder than anybody's muffed a punt in their life. Like, he did not read the toes. He did not have a beat on it at all. He looked like a practice squatter on the final preseason game trying to make the roster. It was that bad a muff. Ethan Bonner was over there, and he recovers the football for the Dolphins. And you're just like, hot dog, the Dolphins are in business, dude. They are about to win this mother bleeping game. You just need a field goal. There is barely any time left. You have Marcus Mariota on the other side. Nothing to worry about, baby. You are making them burn their timeouts. It is all there for the Miami Dolphins. It is just happening. The Dolphins, what are we going to do? Give it to Gordon. Give it to Achane. Give it to Achane. Give it to Achane. Give it to Achane. And give it to Achane, dude, because that's what you should do. You burn out all their timeouts. You get to the 2-minute warning. It's 3rd and goal. And Achane on 2nd and goal nearly gets in the end zone. And this entire time I'm thinking to myself, because Dan Quinn's being Mr. Wacky with his last decision, I'm thinking to myself, and this must be defensive coach by nature, but I'm thinking to myself, why doesn't he just let them score? And then you get, 2.5 minutes to it. If you're going big balls game, right? And you already went for the touchdown for no reason, but you went for the touchdown, you missed. Okay. Then you have this situation where your punt returner blows it for you after your defense gets a stop. I know it's just not probably, I'm sure when he gets to the podium, it's not in their nature, but why not just let Achane score on a couple of it? Just let him score, and you will at least have a chance to, have 2 minutes and your touchdowns and go down, get a touchdown, get a 2-point conversion. Like, you at least have a chance there, because it was a weird game. The teams moved the ball a couple of times. They wanted to, they just couldn't punch it when they got into the red zone today. Both of them having stops on 4th and on the doorstep and couldn't put it in. It was a weird day. But anyway, he doesn't. He decides, nope, 3rd down. We're going to go for the stop. Achane, so Achane gets folded up. Big hit. So he's like, so the clock has to stop because Achane took a nasty hit. I was like, what? He just got almost like accordioned. He got scrunched up. And so they got to stop the clock. There's about 1:44 left. 4th and goal. There's 1:44 left. No touchdowns. And Mike McDaniel's like, we're going for the touchdown. Why? I'm just thinking to myself, why? Mike, dude, you just lost your best player, okay? You couldn't get anything. Just take the point. I don't know, and I'm not making a joke about this. I don't know about if Mike McDaniel or like Dan Quinn, because Dan Quinn went for it, if there was some gentleman's agreement because they love each other and they mean a lot to each other, and he's helping out his guy, and we're going to go men's football. Like, I don't know what the decision was. I'm sure he's going to have some long-winded explanation for it. I don't have the patience to listen for it here a little before 1 p.m. Eastern. But whatever. He goes for the touchdown, and Ollie Gordon has no prayer. He stopped immediately. So the Dolphins, with 1:41 left, instead of getting the lead, give the ball back to the Commanders. And wouldn't you know it, Mariota finds Deebo Samuel for like 30 yards, and so they're in business right away. And then it gets to 3rd and 5, Mariota finds Jacoby Jones. He's got Minka beat. He goes for another 25. There's under a minute left. And then the Dolphins, Minka would make up for this, though, because Minka nearly takes out Marcus Mariota on a blitz, he nearly gets picked off. Then he's going deep, I think it was to Moore, and Minka had coverage the whole way. Couple great plays by 29. And, so they have a big, instead of just run, I don't know why they didn't just take the runs and make themselves in better position. That also, not great coaching. I don't really know what Cliff Kingsbury was sipping on that one, but that's the decisions that they made. Again, two idiots. You can't make this up. Two of the dumbest teams I've ever, this is the two teams I've seen play the stupidest football I've ever seen in my life. Mind you, the game wasn't some work of art before this either. And whatever, he decides a couple of passing plays instead of setting himself up for a 54-yarder or a 53-yarder. Let's keep 57. He's hit a 58-yarder. We could take some risks. Just the unnecessary risks by these two teams. It was insane. Whatever, 57-yard field goal attempt, doesn't have a prayer. Commanders, Dolphins remains tied with about 10 seconds left. But mind you, I told you, it was a pretty deep touchdown. So the Dolphins have an opportunity to maybe make a couple plays, something quick, something to happen. Tua throws it to Waddle. Again, hits Waddle right in the hand. It wasn't like as pretty as the last one. It was right in the hand. You're a number one receiver. Like, catch the ball. Instead, he doesn't, so nothing happens there. And then, the Dolphins, they have no chance at a Hail Mary. So Tua gets it to Achane, who doesn't even bother lateraling the ball. So we're going to overtime and recapped everything there already. Like Jack Jones, huge interception. Dolphins are celebrating. The thing that I was waiting for, though, and Jonathan Vilma made a point of this on the broadcast. He's like, because they got that interception, and they were celebrating even in the midst of they weren't even watching the Dolphins offense drive. They were still celebrating. And Jonathan Vilma was like, I think I'd wait until I knew the game was over. He's like, I think I would wait until the win was over. Whatever. The Dolphins took the ball. Rockets. They finally go to logic again and just go, we're going to give it to Achane every single time. They do that. They set themselves up for a nice little chip shot for Riley Patterson, and the Dolphins walk away 4-7, getting their win today. What an affair. What an affair today is. Another exceptional game from Devon Achane today. 20 carries, 120 yards for him. And then you add 45 of that in receiving. Did not get any touchdowns today, much to my prop bet chagrin. I'm just a mush. I got to stop betting on Dolphins. It's hapless for me. But either way, the Dolphins able to get this one today, and you just feel good about getting the win. I don't feel really great about the game. It wasn't the most fantastic game in the world by any means. Pain in the ass to get the game today. I hate international games. This one seemed like the coolest because the players seemed to really dig Spain. But I did not find it to be an enjoyable one. And it was we saw some old flavors of things that were affecting the Dolphins that hadn't really gotten to them in a while. Tua was getting sacked. He was under some real heat today. And, the defense holding up the run game wasn't awesome today. They gave up nearly 200 yards rushing. There was some old stuff that crept out there with the Dolphins that wasn't great. But yeah, man, this one was, and it was a penalty affair early on in this game. It was a field goal fest through basically half of the game. Again, the Dolphins were going at this one, and I was like, man, these guys, we gotta get going a little bit, huh? Like this is gonna happen, like, right? And we go into halftime. The game was tied 6-6. There was the Commanders came out of halftime, and Mariota found one to Deebo Samuel. And that was after Ashton Davis had a really sick stop on a Chris Rodriguez run where he looked like he was going to the house easy. Mariota found Deebo Samuel. I don't know what the big version of Scampers is. I guess he rumbles into the end zone like nobody was touching him. And that gave the Commanders their first lead. The Dolphins would get the ball back, and they felt like they were going to be right in position to come take the lead again because you get a couple of huge plays from Tua, probably the best play of the game on the passing front. Tua to Waddle had a sick catch. I don't know where his hands went after this one, but he gets the catch in stride, makes the safety miss, goes 30 yards. Then to our old friend Julian Hill is back. He gets a 14-yard gain. The Dolphins start riding Ollie Gordon for a little bit. They get into goal situations. They said on the stat, I didn't know this, but the Dolphins were perfect in goal situations, goal-to-go situations. At this point, they were 13 for 13. Wouldn't you know it? All-time broadcast jinx because Julian Hill gets blown up, as does Ollie Gordon, so he's suffered for a loss. And the Dolphins decide to go for it. This was the first sign of craziness with these teams. The Dolphins decided to go for it, and they tried that goal line play they do to Cheetah all the time. They tried to do that with Jalen Waddle, and Bobby Wagner had caught it by a couple of fingertips, and they get the stop. So Commanders got it back, and you're just like, oh, all right, that was pretty crazy. That was a pretty wild one. But the Dolphins then came out. Chop Robinson probably had his best play of the game returned into action. He came at Marcus Mariota like a bullet and nearly set up an intentional grounding. I thought it was intentional grounding, but I never seem to know the rules of intentional grounding when intentional grounding doesn't happen. Either way, he leaves the game. He goes to the medical blue tent for a little bit, and the Dolphins get the ball back, and this was the drive that they would be able to tie things on. They rock a couple of things. Tua finds Malik Washington and goes to Ollie Gordon to end up tying it. So yeah, man, it was a crazy game. It was a crazy game. A lot of bang your head against the wall, twist and turns from the Miami Dolphins, but again, they're 4-7. They're going into the bye now. You know, some of the breaks that did not go the Dolphins' way early on in the year, a lot of their own doing and the close losses. This one does. And now they get a couple of weeks off. They got the Saints and the Jets coming up. And yeah, this is kind of why you're looking at the Dolphins. Everybody's like, well, if you look at the remaining 5 games, or 6 games the Dolphins have, they got the Saints, the Jets, at Pittsburgh, home against the Bengals on Sunday Night Football if it stays that. That could be the return, but you could be getting Joe Burrow back, so maybe that could have big playoff implications, Tampa and New England. But these next 2 to get themselves back, I mean, the Dolphins, yeah, they very much could get themselves back to 6-7. Now, we got a couple of cold weather games. We got 3 cold weather games left. We got Meadowlands in December. We got a December primetime Pittsburgh game. And then you got New England to end the season. We'll see. Maybe New England maybe New England has nothing to play for. Maybe they've already had the division wrapped up. Not really sure. But either way, if the Dolphins would have lost this, your season's sunk. And both of these guys, really these coaches, I mean, wow. Just unbelievable with the back and forth between these guys and how nobody wanted to win this game at the end. But the Dolphins end up getting that critical 4th win and now get some time to rest up. Maybe you get Austin Jackson back by the time you're back. Shore up that offensive line a little bit more. And, you know, like, whatever. You got it. You're here. You know, no apologies for it. You're here. 4 wins. You know, I had people texting me when that Mike McDaniel they're like, should he get fired even if they win? And I'm like, I can't really have an argument that he shouldn't get fired even if they win. He won't get fired if they win. The question would have been if they lost that game, would Mike McDaniel have been fired? Because they have made a big, big deal about we're keeping Mike McDaniel. He's our dude. people have, they seem to dig the trolling of the Bills fans. The Dolphins were a little bit drunk this week with beating the Bills fans and Mike McDaniel rubbing it in their face. But would he have been fired even if they lost an international game? Stephen Ross has to fly back from Spain with Mike McDaniel being like, you just gave up points? I don't understand this, dude. This was not a high. Like, in games, people are trying to do that. Defenses can't stop anybody. Back and forth. These defenses, while like they were letting teams march, they were stopping in the red zone. Like, it was kind of the theme of the game. I don't understand why both of these coaches went, well, we can't afford field goal attempts. I just like, all right, dude, you don't have like the Jags kicker out here. You don't have dude from Dallas. I'm flummoxed. I'm a little flummoxed by it, to be honest with you. I'm a little flummoxed by it. It was weird, but all right, Dolphins going to the bye with this one. Congrats to them, I guess. And we'll see them in a couple of weeks.